Hi everybody, I'm Brian McAnulty.
I'm Catalina Butnaru.
And this is BrightLounge,
where we talk about design, startups, and technology.
We're in Bangkok, Thailand.
It's a country you can fall in love with if you haven't already, and a place where you can try great food and meet with some interesting people.
Yep, yeah, the people are so nice and friendly, always helping, always have a smile on their face.
Yeah, I was surprised to discover that spicy food can be so much spicier than I expected here. Be warned, if you're trying some Thai food, it can be very spicy.
Yeah, their food is based on 4 different flavors, spicy, sweet, salty, sour, and they'll usually have for your food that you can have peppers, peanuts, sugar, or soy sauce.
Yeah, so just go and check out the streets. You'll always find people cooking and selling exotic fruits. That's a unique experience you definitely need to try. Yeah. And another surprising aspect of Bangkok is it's such a tech-savvy city. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, there's people using smartphones all over the place. There's Wi-Fi throughout most of the city from the mobile providers.
Yeah, we discovered an internet cafe with 400 megabits download speed, so that's quite impressive.
Yeah, really fast. And the most interesting thing to me is the contrast between the whole city, where you have people living a very basic lifestyle, where they're cooking food on the street, selling fruits, and then such a more modern lifestyle with everyone on smartphones and everything like that. And it's just really interesting how it all comes together and interacts, where you have lower class people, higher class people, and fancy hotels, fancy areas, and very basic lifestyle, and it's all mixing and mingling together.
Yeah, Thailand is a place where you can experience affordable luxury. So if you're taking a vacation, make sure you take a longer vacation just to experience everything about Thailand that is so amazing. And I suggest that you spend 80% of the time in Bangkok. It's really worth it. And today we're going to talk with Pitupong, the founder of Supermachine Studio.
Yep, they're an architecture and interior design studio in Bangkok, and they are really creative and unique with some of the projects that they have.
Yeah, that's true. They have a couple of projects that are worth mentioning, such as the Bangkok University Student Lounge, which is a very, very interesting place where students can have a good time.
Yep.
And experience with playful activity and study activities, just mixing them together.
Yeah, so what they're doing in Bangkok University is really interesting, and we'll show a bunch of pictures. We went and took a look as they were building it. And the student lounge is definitely the most fun that I'm sure you can have in any student lounge anywhere.
Yeah.
They have things like fire poles that you can slide down, the bookshelves you can kind of climb on and interact with, and they have a soundproof music room for a band to practice in. So many interesting things. Yeah,
one of the things that makes their approach so different is that they really care about what's happening in everyday life with the Thai society. For example, they're interested in how Bangkok will look in the future, and they have partnered with 3 other architects to design this futuristic Bangkok city.
Yeah, kind of like a fun project, seeing everyone's vision of what Bangkok will look like in the future, and each of them kind of took their own perspective and kind of took certain unique parts of Thailand and showed how it may evolve. Yeah,
Supermachine Studio takes their role as architects in a slightly more creative way, and they really want to communicate through the things that they create.
Yeah.
And before we get into the interview, we have a giveaway.
We're giving away 4 bottle openers in the shape of Thailand, designed by Supermachine Studio.
So keep watching the interview and learn more about the story behind the design of the bottle openers.
And to find out how to win, go to www.brightlounge.tv/giveaway. So let's get into talking with Pitupong.
After that, we're going to talk about content subscription, the future of content subscription, RSS readers, and everything in that topic.
Yeah. Audible is offering a free audiobook download and a 14-day free trial to BrightLounge listeners.
This is a great opportunity for you to listen to popular books such as the Steve Jobs biography. I love listening to audiobooks while working, and I like that I can continue to listen to them when I go out on my iPhone or iPad.
There are over 100,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. So check out www.audibletrial.com/BrightLounge to choose your free audiobook today. We are here with Pitupong. He is an architect. He founded Supermachine Studio in 2009. Also a designer. But why don't you tell us more about Supermachine Studio and about yourself?
Yes, Supermachine Studio was founded in 2009.
Okay.
Before that, I was partnered with my about 6 other friends of mine called This Studio. This Design Studios. Then 2009, we were like sort of typical grown-up designers. Then we split, and everyone do their own thing. Yeah. I found Supermachine Studio. 2009, we were 3 people working for me, and we're working in all kind of design disciplines. Well, not really all kind. It's basically I'm an architect, so we're mainly doing architecture. We are doing a lot of interior design, exhibitions, music festival. Yeah. Sometimes we do art projects and also like object designs.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. But what about the design part of your work? Are you more into architecture or more into interior design?
I always call myself architect, but we just lucky say that we got opportunities to work in different sort of fields. Yeah. Well, the very interesting is that when you work in a different discipline, like for example you do stage design, for example, or installations, once you complete it like 1 or twice, then that sort of idea comes back to my architecture, as was on and on and on like that. Yeah. So it's pretty I think it's very interesting, and I think in a way not so many practice, well, at least in Thailand, was doing this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, like, with that said, what kind of project do you feel best that you've done so far best represents your vision and the kind of projects that you want Supermachine to do?
We were very lucky to have started Big Mountain Music Festival, like already 2 years ago. And we did it already. The first time was 25,000 people attended. The second time was 40,000, and we are designing the third one. With that, I was designing with my friends from Japan. It's called Jiro Endo. And in that project, we start from the beginning. Then we start designing it like 1 year in advance, and like every stages. We do master planning. We do architectural design, we do stage design and lighting design, and we do light control ourselves. And in that, a lot of concept has been like used as a statement from our society in Thailand. We implemented the sort of silliness, the sort of cheap but creative ideas into the projects, and then that sort of stupidity or like say smart simplicity came back into our architecture. So you can call that sort of best represented ideas of Supermachine, I think.
Yeah, like taking the simple things and making them a little bit more out of ordinary and creative, and just putting them.
Yeah, I think so. Very much has been done because of the limitation as well. We have so little budget, so we have to find a cheap way of doing things. Like this robot has been that's one of the say the stage design. It's called the cow stage, and this is Mr. Steak. It's been built in a very architectural way, but in a very simple structure, like a billboard. It's been operated very simple with like 4 or 5 people in the back. Like it can move the head, it changes the eyes, flicking the eyes, and smoke came out.
So so it's not actually robotic. You actually have.
Yeah, exactly. It's like puppet. It's like big scale puppet. Giant puppet. It's 12 meter high. So this is very simple. It's done in a very simple way, and people seem to like it because of its simplicity.
Yeah.
They can guess how it works. So it's communicate very well.
Yeah.
So that's very much, say, the philosophy.
Yeah.
Like the more simple, the better, or the more interesting the result are, I think. Yeah.
And your experience as a design director for Big Mountain must have helped you learn a little bit more about how design is used to communicate with people. And yes, and that's something that you we know about your work at Bangkok University.
Yeah.
And the cute and really interesting things that you have built.
The low 5 pixel wall.
The low 5 pixel wall, which.
That wall was built because I think it's my opinion always that architecture or design this day has a role to address like how the society or the community or the people are reacting to each other, how it's changing. Like now you have social media, you have iOS device, you have phone and the pads, whatever. So how design can reflect that or can talk about that. So I was doing that project at the same time I was doing this. So I think we have like a big wall in the space, and normally at a very old time we have like teenager or people talking to each other by writing on the walls, or sometimes they carve very stupid message and leave it on the wall as like, I love you, I love this person's. So I think how do we do that, or how we think about it, or how do we shift the interest of the people using the space? They are only now using the BlackBerry message or WhatsApps. You send message to each other via your palm. Well, why don't we put the message back onto the wall again? How do we organize that? So we come up with the kind of modules, very simple modules. And then it became, we have like 10,000 pieces. And then people can interact to that modules and leave a message. It's a kind of communications tools in a very simple way.
That's cool.
Cool.
Is architecture changing the paradigm and now making environments more interactive?
Yeah, I think so. It's been done, I think, since the influence, the development of IT, computer software and all that. Like architect, it's such a discipline that, say, misusing all that, or we try to learn and we use all that technologies, we create a form out of that. But sometimes you can also go like super primitive way, going very physical and use as little technology as possible. That was done with, well, zero technologies. Well, zero IT technology, but you will, of course, go to industrial design, trying to create a lot of that pixel with the factory. But when it works, it doesn't involve any technologies. That's why it's lo-fi.
How do you think design can respond to social changes, and what's some ways that through your design you can try to communicate different things?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you see more straightforward, say, role in other design discipline, like what you were doing, like web design or graphic design. It's very much as a communication tools. But in architecture, it has like a little bit bigger roles or complex role, because we designing space, we design structures, we design infrastructures. But more and more, I think you can think of it, or you can look at it as a communication. It has communication role as well. It should deliver also message, or it should be a platform for people to come in as communities. They form like small group, bigger group, and architecture can be a platform for them to exchange. It should be also communicatable.
You made a point with your design for the bottle opener. And that was talking about some very difficult times in Thailand. So how did you come up with the idea, and how did you use design to just make a statement.
Yeah, because I think design has also the roles, not as a, how do you call it, the stuff that people use or the house that people are living in, but it can be a stuff that critique the society or make a comment or make a statement on what is going on. And that bottle opener was like 2 years ago when we have very difficult time about the conflict in the society. We have red people and yellow people. They're conflicting each other. Bipolar society. So we designed a bottle opener with the shape of political map, geopolitical map of Thailand. And with that, we can use different side of the country to open the beer bottle. It's a statement saying, okay, we shouldn't take sides. Like, that should be the standing place for people that don't take side at all, or we are not agree with this forceful sort of statement in a society that forces us to take side. So that's the stuff the thing that we believe that the design has some roles in that sort of conflict.
And making a point.
And you made it in every color except red.
It's every color. Only except red and yellow. Yes.
Just to fit the name of the campaign, no red, no yellow. Just like you said, Thailand is a
multicolor society. So don't force me to take side. Yes.
That's cool.
So our audience is typically a lot of designers, all different kinds of creatives, but more web design, print design. So architecture is a little bit different for them. What kind of applications do you use when designing?
I used to be really nerd, and I'm still a nerd. And I was like, before I came back to Thailand, when I was working in Holland, I was heavily using Maya. And we do some sort of scripting, and we were playing with geometries, like how to come up with different forms. And then I come back and we're using, of course, AutoCAD. It's the way to communicate with the client. It's technical drawings with the contractors and all the builders. And now since we start using now Google Sketchup, and we're still using a lot of 3D Max to render. Is a kind of a good tools to sort of make presentation for sometimes the clients who has like different backgrounds. They see it more like precise how we test with materials. Of course, we use Photoshop and all this, the rest of the programs.
Cool.
That's cool. So you were saying about quality customizing SketchUp to the extent that they had all the tools they needed right there. Playing with everything.
It was very eye-opening, in fact, because it was like one of our staff just freshly came out from the universities. He came up with a very thick toolbar for SketchUp. I was like, at the beginning, I had a very bad impression with SketchUp because it can only do box. It's just push and pull and follow me. It looks very. It's very simple. Where Maya is like full of scripting and 3D Max. But then he said, oh, there is this Ruby script where you can. It's open source. You can download. And you can add it into your SketchUp. It was like that thick, and then it can do a lot of stuff. It's strange. So more and more, I mean, we are using this SketchUp as a kind of main tools. It can drop stuff from the sky into the terrain. It can make instant escalator. It makes like difficult geometries.
Much quicker.
It's new. I think.
What inspires you as a designer and architect?
Sorry?
What inspires you?
What inspired me? Stuff. It's everything. It's like the cats, the small streets, the bricks, everything around me. I think it's more. What I'm doing, it's not kind of high architecture. Wow, I can do that sort of thing, but I think it's more interesting to look into ordinary, like normality, like stuff around us, our surroundings. Like there's one very interesting book. It's called Very Thai. It's like one Westerner who lived in Thailand a very long time. He has a very interesting observation on strange stuff that we do, like the
In
card.
Thai culture?
Yeah, in Thai culture we have strange stuff. We have the blue tube. We have very messy electrical lines where sometimes it's knit into very nice patterns.
Yeah.
We have a very messy way of eating on the street, but it's all very nice and very good smell. So that's the stuff I'm interested in more and more, I think.
Yeah, and you were telling me about how you like testing out patterns and seeing different patterns you can repeat across different things to build interesting things rather than just taking a giant form.
Yeah, it's the limitation. It started up. We call this process multiplications. It's a sort of beauty when you have a kind of small thing and you repeat it in thousands or in millions.
Yeah.
The beauty it's created by, when you have same kind of object and you have slightly different colors, or you have slightly different shape, but it's kept repeating into a different kind.
Yeah.
But mostly it started up from, we had so limited budget, so we have to look around.
Yeah.
Say, okay, one chair is not beautiful yet, but when we have 1,000 chair putting next to each other, then it became a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So we've been using a lot of this method in our projects.
Very interesting. What other project you would really love to work on? What is the next big thing for you?
Next big thing now, we're, I think, I would say this again, we are very lucky that we don't have to do a lot of project that my friend who studied together with me in the School of Architecture was doing. They're doing, if you look around, there are a lot of condominiums, huge, 25-story, 30-story buildings, and they're like keep coming up in downtown Bangkok because the infrastructure is like being developed very quickly.
Yeah.
And the land price is pretty high, so a lot of office at my age, they're all serving the industry. It's like designing big buildings, but they're all very sort of boring. Like it's all about selling area and all that. But I was doing different thing. I was doing every year a concert, like objects and arts.
Yeah.
And after we did the workshop, the BUCC, we got a small other project. We were doing the lounge for the university. We're doing classrooms.
Yeah.
Now we are going to start doing the library, which is, I think, way more interesting because it has a lot of social issues.
Yeah.
It's a public building and it has specific, how do you call it, age of user. Specific way of using the space, specific behaviors.
Yeah.
It's also very Thai students, So it's more fun to, trying to assess or implement something or build on the projects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and do you have any words of advice for designers or aspiring architects?
Designers. Try to do different things. Yeah, no, not try to do different things. That's kind of default, but try to find different thing to do. I think would be the right word.
Yeah, right.
Because the more you do different sort of stuff, the less boring life you have. So you can keep changing from interior design, arts, installations. Then it's always reflecting what
experiment and growing and doing things.
It gives something back to you, to the main thing that you do. I think that's applied for every discipline, I think.
Yeah.
It's much more than just architecture or just interior design. It's always all these influences coming together, and you as an architect need to know so many things about the environment, the society you're in, and anything else. So that sounds awesome.
Yeah, well, I think it's more interesting. It's not completely right because we don't have to know that. It's more interesting not to know it.
Oh, okay.
And to find the new thing that you don't know how to do.
Yeah.
and misuse some concept and make a mistakes, and then that's more fun. I think that's a secret. So the more you don't know, the more interesting, I think.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so thanks so much for the interview. And
Thank you.
Good luck with everything that you're working on.
Thank you very much.
Yep, thanks.
Thanks.
It was awesome talking with Pitupong. He has a really unique style. It's really interesting, the different ways he finds to communicate different things through his work.
Yeah, now back to content subscription, right?
Yeah, so where is content subscription going? What's the future of content subscription?
Basically, it all started with the RSS technology.
Yeah, I was someone who was always really into RSS and still am. I have used multiple RSS readers, I guess, on a daily basis. And it's really interesting to see where that's all going, where digital publishing is going, and how people can receive content and get it pushed to them and see that without going around to every individual site.
Yeah, RSS is one of those technologies that can be used in so many ways and like upgraded aesthetically, right? So users don't even realize they're using RSS feeds. They just go and check out their app and don't really realize they're actually subscribing using that technology.
Yeah, so it's something that really didn't get adopted by mass consumers and general internet users. And it's something that was never really, I guess, utilized in the right way that it was understood by them. And yeah, as you said, the people who would be using it in a lot of cases didn't know they were even using it. But now what we have is we're moving towards a lot of ways to get subscribed content to consumers in different ways. So with the iPad, with a lot of new apps coming out.
Yeah, there are either web-based applications like Feedly or Alltop that you can use to check out news from trusted sources, or standalone applications for your smartphone, for your iPad, or for desktop, for laptops. And one really important aspect of these applications today is that they need to be synced throughout with all your devices. That's really important. And that's actually important for me, and I hope that it's a feature that will be kept in mind by...
Yeah, a lot of apps have that now, and what's interesting is a few iPad apps have done a really good job of finding a way to make this really understandable and easily adoptable by general internet users. Things like Pulse, Flipboard, Zeit, kind of give the content to you and say, what are you interested in? Do you like tech? Do you like business? Do you like design?
Yeah.
And then have that content come to you instead of you having to go and pick each individual site and figure out how everything works.
It's more intuitive to actually subscribe to categories rather than to specific sources.
Yeah, so it gets a lot of people who maybe had no clue about this kind of thing into consuming a lot of content and subscribing to multiple sites at once. And I think that's really interesting how that's all going to evolve, and things like on iOS 5 now, Apple has Newsstand where digital publications get automatically sent to your device. So it's definitely really evolving and really coming closer to more widespread adoption.
Yeah.
And
news websites are now, they have multiple feeds that you can subscribe to. For example, if they have design news, you can always subscribe only to that specific category or to apps category. So that's helping the user.
Multiple RSS feeds,
that's using the user really get into consuming content the way they actually want to do it.
Yeah, and things like Zeit with its personalization, you can it gives you the general topic, and then you can say no, don't like this, do like this, and makes it an easier way for the consumer to say basically I don't like this site as much and I do like this site more, and Zeit will kind of figure out that for you and give you relevant articles.
Yeah, what they do have, they did figure out in a very good way. They figured out how to use tags to sort even individual articles, and you don't like subscribe to a general feed, and receive all news from that source. You actually are able to read a specific article if you're interested in specifically typography, which you just receive that based on tags. So I think that's a direction for content subscription, using tags and keywords to filter your results. And because RSS readers give you the power to filter the sources you subscribe to, that should always stay. You always have to have the possibility to remove one website from your...
Yeah, there has to be a certain amount of... Either the algorithm has to be so perfect that it only shows you what you want, but there has to be some way of you adjusting it and personalizing it to yourself.
Another direction of content subscription would be making it more social, and receiving that would mean that you will receive articles or receive content based on what your friends are recommending on various social platforms. So now you have Google+, you have Facebook and Twitter, and if you have subscribed to one topic, you will receive an article that was recommended or shared by one of your
so Google Plus, for instance, has the Sparks feature where you can go and read things you're interested about there. But they're also, I think, really evolving what people are consuming, because the first level, I guess, that an internet user gets into is something like a social network where they're seeing content from their friends. And that's stuff they enjoy seeing, whether it's their friends' events or whatever, but also a lot of times it's news stories and links that their friends are sharing. And so it's really interesting how I think Google is really pushing towards Google Plus becoming that area for people, as opposed to Google Reader, which is so popular still. But it can be really interesting to see how that all works, and if people can receive all the content they really want from something like that.
Yeah, so you add to a trusted source of information, you add your friend's recommendation. And there can be a rating system to rate articles higher based on their quality. So that can be an interesting criteria to introduce to content subscription as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that's a little bit difficult to solve, because in some cases, like a lot of my friends, they're not into the same exact things I'm into, so they may post a news story, but maybe about a different topic. It may not be about design or development, something like that. So at the same time, there's a couple of different people and companies going about it different ways. So Feedly, which is a browser-based RSS reader, has an option where they have like industry influencers and showing what they're reading and what they're sharing. So you can pick a topic and see other people who are definitely interested in that topic and see what they're sharing.
Yeah. Okay, so that was it for this episode. Don't forget to participate in our giveaway and win an amazing bottle opener. And don't forget to also check out Audible.
Yeah.
There are a couple of very interesting books that I usually listen every day to one Audible book, and that's cool.
Yeah. You help out us by helping out our sponsors, and also check out Vizar, who is our video hosting provider. Yeah,
if you have in mind to start your own podcast or just generate more video content for yourself, definitely check out Vizar. It's a great platform with iOS optimization for your video content, and a really great platform.
Yep, and if you have any suggestions of where you want to see us next, anyone you want us to interview, just let us know. You can email us at hey@brightlounge.tv or send us a message on contact form at brightlounge.tv.
Yep, so see you soon, guys.
Bye.